The Skyline GT-R, an iconic car of almost mythical status, known only to the few for its power, its speed, and its handling. It's a racer disguised as a roadster, burning up the track at over 300 kilometers per hour. It's the ultimate bad boys car. The star of movies, games, and manga comics. Business idol Carlos Ghosn, the charismatic Nissan boss, is determined that the GT-R will be born again, better than ever, designed afresh, filled with groundbreaking technology, and sold to the public. But how will the world react to this new muscle car? Can it beat the all-time sports car classic, the Porsche 911 Turbo? And will Ghosn himself even survive the supercar? Friday, midnight. Japan's back streets. The asphalt belongs to the GT-R, the Gran Turismo racer. This is Japan's ultimate muscle car. And the race boys are out, reclaiming the night, tearing up the neighborhood, pushing the speed limit, avoiding the cops. There are nights like this wherever there are open roads and GT-Rs. There's a secret world centered around this car. It's a classic and a cult, and those in the know worship the GT-R and its power to ravage the road. Nissan stopped making the Skyline GT-R some years ago, and of course, its rarity just adds to its charisma. In Japan, Nissan boss Carlos Ghosn is mobbed wherever he goes. It's unusual for a businessman to draw such adulation. But then Ghosn's an unusual kind of businessman. For one thing, he's a foreigner running a Japanese company. And for another, he managed to turn Nissan around, taking it from a loss of over $20 billion to a profit of $2.7 billion. When he arrived in 1999, he slashed 21,000 jobs and closed 5 plants. It was a rude awakening in a very, very polite corporate culture.
3 weeks ago, we declared the Nissan revival complete by delivering our most difficult Nissan 180 commitment, 1 million additional sales.
But success talks, and Ghosn became a hero.
Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your trust.
He even appears in Japanese comics known as manga. And in the automobile business, he's known as a golden boy.
Besides having this tremendous charisma, this tremendous leadership, he's got an eye for the details. He knows what's important in a business. And so you put a lot of that together and you have a very powerful business leader.
Today, he's come to the Toyko Motor Show, and he's about to make what will probably be the most important presentation of his life. He wants the world to see his company in a whole new way, and he's heading out to convince it, face to face.
The program is ready.
Hopefully,
oh, that's
we'll
good.
be able to make it.
That's good.
So the day's got to be under control. Nothing's left to chance.
It's going to be very busy, yes.
But I think somebody should indicate to people that they can go out.
They're already done.
They're already done.
And they're already, more or less all the spaces are already taken with the TVs.
You know, that's what...
There are just minutes to go. It's the culmination of 5 years preparation, unveiling his Japanese supercar. But the GT-R story begins much earlier. The GT-R has been the jewel in Nissan's crown since it first appeared. It's known as a supercar, a high-performance road car with a top speed of more than 300 kilometers per hour.
You need something, a highlight to a lineup, something that really stands out, a great sports car. Every manufacturer needs one, and the GT-R is, I think, Japan's greatest car.
When the race boys pull up at the Daikoku car park, it's clear that although they're pretty fast, they're not really that furious. This is a chance for them all to admire each other's wheels and generally see what they can do to whip that little bit extra out of their beasts.
The guys that bought these cars knew what it was capable of, so they immediately pumped it up to 400, 600 horsepower. Some even took it up to 800 horsepower. The chassis is so good in this car that it will take that sort of stress. That's what Nissan developed back in 1989. A road-going car that is based on a race car. And nobody had ever done this before.
The first GT-Rs were race cars, blasting around tracks and showing the opposition just who was boss. 20 years later, the third generation Skyline GT-R was packed with new technologies designed to prove that Nissan's engineering was second to none, including that of their arch rival, Porsche. It was all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering, with all the road holding that implies. A microprocessor monitored the car's movements 100 times per second, controlling it around high-speed corners. And the thing was, this race car was available to the general public to take on the road, but only in Japan initially.
Nissan obviously didn't really understand what they'd created. They almost created a monster.
For some foreigners, being transferred to work in Japan has allowed them to realize the GT-R dream.
It's amazing what technology of this type can do. So now 2.8 litre has been fully built engine. So now I'm looking at about 730 horsepower to the wheels. So it's really something special from such a small displacement engine.
It's corner face, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and a real wolf. It's a track car, it's a day car, you can drag race it, you can pretty much absolutely abuse the car, and it will still love you the next morning.
These guys idolize the GT-R, but they've heard that soon a whole new model is coming out. And for the first time, this GT-R will not come in sheep's clothing. Obviously, they're concerned when it comes to tampering with a legend. Carlos Ghosn also cares about the GT-R heritage. He is determined the new car will be a worthy successor. It should match or beat the benchmark sports car, the iconic Porsche 911 Turbo, one of the quickest production cars you can buy. And as if that's not enough, it should beat the 911 in its own backyard. On one of the toughest road tracks in the world, the Nordschleife of Germany's Nurburgring.
I told them no compromise. I don't care how much time it's going to take. I want a very strong performance car. And they ended up saying we're going to need 4 to 5 years because they need to build a completely new platform with a lot of technologies.
As for its design, well, there, Ghosn only has one stipulation.
The only constraint I put on them, I told them I want round tail lamps, period. I want them big because this has always been the signature of the GT-R and I want them back.
Designers from Japan, from Europe, and from the US all pitch in with initial sketches. All told, 50 of them make it through to Shiro Nakamura, Nissan's design chief.
Some are very good, some are not. But I do remember one sketch. It's not very far from this.
The important thing is that the new design feels modern, but clearly pays homage to the traditional GT-Rs. It should stress continuity with the past and reflect Japanese pop culture. The GT-R's square lines and vents were inspired by the giant robots of Japanese anime.
It's a very strong looking solid, but at the same time very sophisticated, and even it has elegance and some sexiness. So I think balancing that very macho, masculine design and elegance of the surfacing lines, I think we made a very good balance of those things.
Not everyone on the committee agrees with Nakamura, but the final decision is down to the man who has initiated the project, Carlos Ghosn. Ghosn backs his design chief's recommendation, and the new GT-R begins to take shape. But will it be a car that can both keep the GT-R devotees happy and put Nissan back on the world map of automotive cool?